Hi, my name is Stephen Holstein. In my 20s, I abused stimulants and anabolic steroids to the point where my adrenal glands were shot. I suffered from extreme fatigue and an inability to handle stress. For over 6 years, I have been taking adrenal supplements including herbs, glandulars, vitamin C, and vitamin B5. All these supplements did was treat the symptoms and produced only minimal results. Now, just after 1 month on Synergy One and ADR Medics, I truly feel rejuvenated. I have never felt such relaxation before from any adrenal supplement as I did just 10 minutes after taking ADR Medics. I then noticed Synergy One made me wake up rested and with much more energy. No more hungover, groggy feeling upon arising. I had almost considered going to another country for stem cell therapy as a last resort, but now I truly feel rejuvenated on Synergy One and ADR Medics.
Success happens with synergistic nutrition. Click on the Synergy One banner ad right here at extremehealthradio.com. That's extremehealthradio.com.
And we are also brought to you by our store. We've got so many great products. We just added about 6 new products to our store. The Natural Clear Skin Academy, the Soul CBD oils, and the Andreas Sacred Seed oils, which helps to deliver oxygen to the center of the cell. You can listen to our show on that. Obviously, the Savvy Rest organic beds is in our store. The EMF Defender Pad, the rapid release technology. We've got Organifi green juice powder, grounded bed sheets. The Vitalizer Plus to help structure and spin and vortex your water. The Beta Glucans, which helps radically improve your immune system incredibly. We've got the Energy Muse jewelry. We got earth grounded sandals, chemical free cookware, activation products. We got raw dog food, raw organic vegan hair care products, the Biomat, blenders, juicers, rebounders, Qigong courses, everything in our store. So make sure to check out our store, support the show, and get some awesome products while you're at it. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. We got another show today for you that I think you're going to really like. We're going to be talking about mattresses, and we spend a third of our life in bed, so I think it would behoove us to have a good mattress and be able to know that our mattress is not off-gassing. So we're going to be talking to a really great guy, John Howard Smith, CEO of Savvy Rest, in just a moment. But want to let you guys know we do broadcast 3 days a week on Monday, Tuesday, Friday. So if you guys want to keep up to date with everything we have going on, the best way to never miss a show is to text the word "Get Healthy" to 33444. That's "Get Healthy" to 33444, and you can sign up to our newsletter list. Be kept up to date with a lot of summits that go along on the internet that are all free for you guys to listen to and to join. And we share lots of cool stuff on our newsletter, which goes out every Monday and every Friday. So you never miss a show if you sign up to that. We do broadcast 3 days a week, and like I said, you can text the word "Get Healthy" to 33444 and sign up to that. And let me just do this. I pulled up some interesting facts from Dr. Mercola's website concerning flame retardant chemicals in beds. He says you spend a third of your life sleeping, and he says as of July 1st, 2007, all U.S. mattresses are required to be highly flame retardant to the extent that they won't catch on fire if exposed to a blowtorch. This means they contain fire retardant chemicals. One type of flame retardant chemical, polybrominated diphenyl ethers, PBDES, has been banned in the U.S. since 2004 due to health concerns. But if your mattress contains polyurethane foam and was manufactured before that date, it still may contain them. And boric acid, which is a toxic respiratory irritant used to kill roaches, antimony, a metal that may be more toxic than mercury and formaldehyde, which causes cancer, are some of the other chemicals that lurk in many mattresses. So this is really a big deal for us to have high quality mattresses that we're sleeping on. And we're going to be bringing John in on the show, John Howard Smith, CEO of Savvy Rest. I'm really excited to be partnered up with them because it took a long time to find a company. We've been doing the show, as you guys know, for 4 years, and I've been on the lookout for a company that would be reputable, company that we can really stand behind and really know what they're doing. And so I'm super excited to have John on the show. Thanks so much, John, for joining us today.
Thanks, Justin. Good to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So I was reading I was doing a little bit of research before the show and looking at some of this information from Dr. Mercola. I had never heard. I had heard of, what is it? Polybrominated diphenyl ethers. I've heard of those in the mattresses, but
PBDEs. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know about what was that other one? Antimony.
Yeah, antimony. There's all sorts of other materials they use to pass the fire test. You mentioned boric acid. It's a very common one. And many of the chemicals that make up polyurethane foam and memory foams and lots of these popular textiles and synthetic foams out on the market, they contain many other toxic flame retardants. Most we can't pronounce, but they're prevalent, highly prevalent in the industry.
Wow. So when they spray the mattresses down, they obviously don't think that there's an issue with it, right? They don't think they off gas, otherwise they wouldn't do it, right?
Well, that's tough to say. There's certainly those out there who think that these companies know very well what they're putting into their products, and they certainly fight a good legal battle to make sure they can say that they're safe to use. But there's a lot of misinformation out there. So
if they do think it's okay, then they obviously might do it to cut costs. Or I think there used to be a law, right, that all mattresses had to be flame retardant, didn't they?
Yeah, well, it still exists. A lot of, it's mostly a California-based law, which other states adopt. Mm-hmm. It certainly is a cost savings measure to use cheap synthetic flame retardants you can spray on to pass these burn tests, as they call them. Mm-hmm. The only natural way that we know of to pass the burn test is to use certified organic wool, or I guess you could use natural wool, but that's a very expensive product, and the wool has many other benefits too. But you see some people using things like silicates, like glass, sand particles essentially, and those have health risks too. But most manufacturers out there, just like in many industries, are looking for inexpensive ways to meet whatever regulations are in that industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's crazy. So that was a law that I think came to pass according to that article from Dr. Mercola. I think around 2007 that started happening, right?
Yeah, that's basically when it became wide sweeping across the country. Uh-huh. Even before that, you can watch the HBO documentary Toxic Hot Seat, which I highly recommend, or you can read the Chicago Tribune's multi-piece article about flame retardants. You can see this all started back in the 70s with the cigarette manufacturers. It's a wild story that I won't get into, but yeah, that law has been in effect, and it's pretty based on pretty outdated principles of people putting out cigarettes in their bed from back when people used to smoke a lot more.
Oh my goodness, that is just nuts. And so ever since then, I didn't know that antimony was more, according to Dr. Mercola, a little bit more carcinogenic than formaldehyde, because everybody knows the dangers of mercury and formaldehyde. But my goodness, antimony, he's saying here, which causes cancer, is more toxic than formaldehyde. That's nuts.
Yeah, and there's lots of other chemicals that are in traditional mattresses that are similarly carcinogenic, and not only are they carcinogens, but they can lead to other health problems, with breathing-related illnesses. They can affect hormones. They can affect obesity levels, and all these are known.
So the question really becomes then: are these mattresses really off-gassing? That's the real question. Because if they're not, then theoretically there's no issue with them. But have there been studies and things that have looked at the amount of gases coming off the tops of the mattresses?
There are some studies. There's certainly some lawsuits out there against some big name manufacturers out there about them knowing what kind of toxic chemicals are in their product, how much they off gas, and these companies kind of glossing that over, and that's available if you search online. But as far as off-gassing, the reputable companies that will measure off-gassing, I think it's United Laboratories, they have a certificate called Green Guard, where companies, it is a voluntary test, but you can send your products to the Green Guard lab, and they'll test it over a significant period of time for off-gassing chemicals. So that's the only real way to know that something isn't off-gassing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, because we've heard the same thing about all manner of different chemicals that are in carpets as well. And so with this company, any other company that manufactures these items could send carpets or really anything to them, and they could test it?
As far as I understand, almost any home good or textile can be sent there, and they'll test it for off-gassing chemicals.
Wow! And so you said there's actual legal lawsuits going on with individuals suing companies as a result of their mattresses and things.
Yeah, there are, and not just individuals. They're class action lawsuits. Some of these big manufacturers know that there's, I think in one case, there was over 30 carcinogenic chemicals in their product. And, there's all sorts of evidence that they hid this from consumers. They put a lot of spin language into their sales training manuals on how to talk around this and not educate consumers about what's in their products. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Man, oh man, that's just crazy. Yeah, gosh. So these mattresses that we've been sleeping on, for the most part, have been off-gassing formaldehyde and antimony. And I'm sure, do we know how many chemicals are in the standard mattress? Are there just lots of single chemicals, or are there just thousands of different chemicals?
There's at least hundreds. Depends on the type of product, but there's all sorts of toxic chemicals in there. Most mattresses contain toluene, which is more toxic than formaldehyde. That's a common chemical you'll see in polyurethane foams. We send our raw materials off to independent chemical laboratories to get them tested, and they test for hundreds of different chemicals. And so we post those results so people know what they're actually getting. But the polyurethane memory foam mattress manufacturers out there wouldn't do that, because it would frighten people. You think the list of ingredients on your food is extensive. The ones that be listed on your mattress are pages and pages and pages long.
Wow!
And it's not just the foams too, or the highly toxic materials that off gas, but you're looking at polyester fabrics and other petroleum-based fabrics that are on the outside of these products too. These are all oil-derived products.
Yeah, we had a guest on just recently who this was really interesting. His name was Craig Carroll, and his wife had been dealing with, stage 4 cancers for a majority of her life. She had a heart attack. She had MRSA. But what he was saying was that they found her dad, apparently when she was a child, used to work in some sort of chemical plant or some sort of chemical factory or something. And he would come home with his clothes just reeking of chemicals. And what they found out later, that the cause of all of her health issues was something called benzene, which you just mentioned, petroleum-based products. And he was saying, this guy Craig, that benzene is in all known petroleum-based products, all plastics, which are basically the same thing. And he was, talking about the dangers of benzene and how it's a known carcinogen, and everybody around the world knows about this, but people in the U.S. just don't really know a whole lot about benzene.
Yeah, well, it's companies putting dollars first, because these materials are cheap, and that's why I mentioned the fabrics as well, because they're derived from the same materials, these synthetic materials.
So what are they doing with, say, a memory foam mattress? They're putting, so the memory foam is one thing, and then they do something to the outside in terms of coating?
Yeah, so, most of the traditional mattresses, the real popular ones out there now that have memory foam, that's obviously a petroleum-derived product, synthetically made with a mixture of chemicals. They may have, the inside of the mattress may have a mix of that and polyurethane foam or coils or some other material, but I'm describing the fabric that goes on the outside of this mattress, the cover, and that's going to be mostly polyurethane or other synthetic textiles that are made with petroleum derivatives or plastic type materials.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so you have the actual chemicals inside the mattress itself, but then you also have the chemicals on the outside, which probably increases the amount of chemical load and burden by just a ton.
Right.
Wow. So how long have, organic mattresses in this industry? Has it been around for a long time?
There's been a big surge in the last few years as the public awareness for chemicals in the home has increased. We've seen it with food. 20, 30 years ago, there might have been, some organic options, but it's only seen its boom in the last 10 years or so. Now you see it in every traditional grocery store. You'll see an organic food aisle, no matter what that store sells otherwise. We're seeing the same thing in organic mattresses, where more people are trying to make healthy options, and many more consumers are searching for healthy options. So you may have seen a couple natural mattress alternatives in the 90s or even before that, and mostly those were very simple, old-style mattresses with tufting and just wool or cotton materials. But when we got started in 2004, 2005, there were really not that many options on the market for those looking for comfortable sleep and healthy sleep at the same time.
Yeah, so the companies that are actually putting out all of these less than great options for their products, they're able to do all of the chemicals because it probably is just a big money saver for them, right? I mean, it costs way less to manufacture something that you don't have to spend so much on.
Sure, that's exactly right. I mean, there's, they'll say too that the surfaces they provide offer comfortable sleeping surface, which is part of the story. But of course, the materials they use, the synthetic derived products, are going to be a lot cheaper than if you went out there and they use the natural materials we use that are certified organic wool, certified organic cotton, and natural latex from a rubber tree. These materials are much more costly, and the big companies out there want to sell as cheaply as they can to their retailers and distributors so that they can put a big markup out there for the consumer.
Now, is that challenging? I want to ask you about organic wool, but is it challenging to get certified organic cotton? Because isn't cotton kind of like corn? It's one of those highly sprayed crops.
It is. We often have to go abroad to get it, and for us, that comes down to the question of, do we want to source domestically and get something that might be laced with chemicals, or do we want to be true to our message of delivering organic products? And so there's a limited supply of certified organic cotton in the United States, but mostly you're going to have to look abroad in the Middle East or Asia to get certified organic cotton. And so we get it from where we can because we feel that's important to not expose customers to that risk.
That's interesting you say that because, gosh, I would imagine most of the clothes we wear are made from cotton that's not organic, right?
Yeah, most of it's going to be non-organic cotton, and usually they're blended with other synthetic fabrics. So you'd have to look for the GOTS logo, which is the Global Organic Textile Standard. It's a little green circle with a white T-shirt on it, and that's a textile standard that really matters if you're buying a cotton product.
Interesting. We should all start looking at. I know I have a lot of organic clothing and some hemp shirts and things like that, but golly, I would imagine that would not be a good thing to have certified unorganic or just a cotton that's not organic be a part of your clothing.
Yeah, it's the same kind of risk as you're getting with food to a degree. There's going to be pesticides present more than likely, or some other synthetic blended materials in there.
Yeah. So you mentioned certified organic wool. How could that not be organic?
So to get certified organic wool, there's multiple stages in getting that certificate. You have to look at the way the sheep are raised, their diet, the way they're treated. So, non-certified organic wool, the sheep can be treated inhumanely. That's actually part of the organic standard. They have to be treated humanely.
Oh, really?
There's many bad
Wow.
There's many bad practices that harm the sheep for traditional wool shearing. And the organic certificate bans that. And they also have to have an organic diet, free range, that kind of thing. But then you go from the shearing process to the production. And so all this wool, it's coming from an animal, so it's going to have vegetable matter and dirt and all sorts of other things in it. So you have to clean it. So the cleaning has to be done organically. Can't be done with harsh cleaners because you run into the same issue of pesticides spraying cotton. You get toxic materials in the cleaning. and then you have to pull it, and they call it card it and garnetting. These are all processes used to turn the wool into something that's usable as a textile. And all of that has to be done in accordance with organic standards and has to be done in a facility that is certified, because you don't want certified organic wool getting mixed in with other synthetic or toxic products. So there's many ways many ways wool cannot be organic, and those are the ways that it makes it organic.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's really cool that the label organic applies to all of these other things. Because your first thought is, what are they doing? Spraying the backs of sheep, but gosh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, and the same thing goes, with cotton. It's a chain of custody. It goes down to the farm itself, and the way they harvest it, not just what's used to grow the crop, but the way they clean it as well.
Well, it's interesting too, because you look at all of these sort of hoops that a company would have to jump through in order to maintain that label of organic, and a lot of times people are thinking about price, and they're just so used to either having the government subsidize certain food products like corn, whereas the price of corn and corn related products and wheat would just be triple if the government didn't subsidize them. Or in terms of the things that you guys do, we're so used to companies that aren't doing all of these things, and they're able to drive the price down. So there almost becomes like a re-education process that has to happen with people in order to understand what's in these mattresses that you're getting for so cheap. And why it's so much more expensive and how that helps you. So has there been an issue with you guys having to re-educate people?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the challenge. You have to, a big part of our consumer base are people who are already geared this way, already thinking this way. But we, of course, want the general public to know that there's value in going an organic route and getting these chemicals out of your home, out of your body, out of your lungs. Mm-hmm. And so that's a big challenge. And one of the other challenges is that our industry is very fledgling, whereas the food industry, the term organic is highly regulated, so the consumer knows that it means something. In the textile industry, there are certificates which mean something, but the term itself is kind of bandied about because there's no FTC regulation about using the term organic. So there's a lot of manufacturers out there trying to get into this space who can just say organic, and maybe they have some organic inputs, and that's it. So we're trying to work with regulators, too, to make sure that the certificates and the term actually have integrity, so people know what they're getting, when they see that term.
Gosh, it's so crazy. It's just so crazy that you would have people or other companies that would just want to use that word label, since like what you just said about the term organic, and, not have to go through all the hoops. Man, there's so many crazy people out there, aren't there?
Yeah. Well, it's tough. Until they regulate the use of the term organic in our industry, all I can say is if you're looking for a textile product, be it clothing or home goods like mattresses or anything else, you have to look for the certificates beyond it, the ones that actually have organic clout, because right now the term organic itself is kind of bandied about. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, golly. So, one of the guys that I first got involved with in terms of health, named David Wolf, he talks about this interesting idea of just this toxic load that we're putting on the immune system, and he likens it to similar to like a teeter-totter. And if you have two people that weigh 170 pounds on the either side of a teeter-totter, the teeter-totter obviously is going to be parallel to the ground, but once you put, a 5-pound weight in one of the person's hands, that side just goes, up into the sky and one goes down. And he likens it to just this toxic burden that we have, in our culture, in our modern society, where we're just flooded with toxins from every angle, just food, air, everything. And sometimes all it takes is just one little bit overexposure of some new thing. And I think about, the fact that Dr. Mercola, says that we spend a third of our life, which is true. We all know that, lying in bed. And what a burden that must be on people's immune system, breathing all night long, especially from, there's a lot of those memory foam pillows now. Yep, the pillows too. That's one of the easiest things to get out of your home is a pillow filled with toxic material, because that's the closest to your head, where you're breathing things in.
And I think it's true, when we talk about toxic load, if you're looking at, some of the best ways to reduce that, you look at food, which is, going internally. That's obviously one way to, that I would suggest starting off. But like Dr. Mercola says, you spend a third of your life on the mattress. So if you're looking for another way to make a big impact, if you're just going to make a couple changes to your life, that'd be another place I would look.
And what I like about doing, these types of overhauls of your home and things and living environment, the cool thing is about with food, it's really challenging for people. It's hard to find food that tastes good and satiates you and makes you feel good, and also you look forward to eating that's healthy. Right. But it's super easy to replace your carpet or replace your clothing or to replace your things that you don't really have to. I mean, you go down and you lay down to sleep every night anyway. Right. So it's like nothing.
Other than making your bed, it's not like you have to prepare everything every day or every meal. Like the mattress, you buy it once and you sleep on it and you're okay.
Yeah. Nothing really changes. You don't have to get yourself to eat well or try to work out. You fall asleep on it anyway.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So do we know of any of other chemicals that are in regular beddings? Do we know, are there just like lists of them out there that you could find?
Oh, yeah, you can easily look that kind of stuff up. I mean, the big ones people are going to look for formaldehyde, and toluene, I've mentioned before, it's highly toxic. It's in all of these memory foams and polyurethane foams, but the list is really endless of what's in there.
Yeah, there's another one here listed in this article, melamine, which is a resin which contains formaldehyde. So, yeah.
One thing I see people too talk about as a potential natural option, but which usually isn't all that good, is bamboo textile. Uh-huh. A lot of people don't think about the fact that you're turning a wood into a pulp that can be used and spun into a thread, bamboo rayon, as they call it. And so there's highly toxic acid materials and dissolvers that work to reduce a wood into a pulp that can be spun. So I see people toss that option around as something that could be healthier, and I'd offer some caution because of that.
Really? So do you know if there's any other way of turning bamboo into a textile like that where it's not carcinogenic or not? Doesn't.
I don't know off the top of my head, but usually the way they do convert it is a pretty toxic process. And, on the other hand, bamboo is a very renewable wood, so it's got that story too. But
yeah, that's why people like to use it, because it grows so quickly, doesn't it?
Right.
Have people been, or have you guys looked into hemp, and are hemp, is hemp an option?
Hemp is an option as a textile. We actually, I know it's not the point of discussion here today, but we make organic sofas as well. And hemp is one of the materials we use for the upholstery. It's incredibly durable. You can grow it organically, and it can be dyed and used just like every other material. It's rough on its own, so it only has limited uses. But we do see companies, and we offer this product too, where you blend it with cotton or blend it with certified organic cotton to create a softer, more usable feel. So hemp is another great option out there.
Wow. So how are you making, you're making organic like couches and things, right?
Yeah, we just started this last year. So the base is going to be made with natural wood. This is the frame, and we use sustainable wood from the Blue Ridge here on the East Coast. So we build the frame. We use things like natural jute webbing for the support. That's just kind of like a burlap, a natural material. Mm-hmm. We use the natural latex from the rubber tree for the cushions. We use certified organic wool batting around the wood and around the seat cushions, and then wrap it all with certified organic cotton and then an outer certified organic hemp dyed upholstery. Wow. Yeah, I'm looking at some of these sofas you have here. That is really interesting. So every material that you're using is organic and... Organic or natural, yeah. And there's really no one doing that in the upholstery business. It's very similar to the mattress industry in that sense, where everything in those products is generally synthetic or potentially carcinogenic. Obviously, you may spend less time on a sofa than you do a mattress, but some people may not. I don't know. Wow, that's really interesting. There's not a lot of companies that are providing this type of couches and sofas? No, maybe one or two out there that do a little bit of this. Maybe they dabble in it.
Wow.
So we wanted to use our brand name as someone in this space to offer this kind of product to the consumer.
That is really, really cool. And in terms of the sofas, are there different styles and different shapes and things?
Well, we felt it was important to introduce a product so people had an option to get away from synthetic materials. And we thought once we got that out there, then we can tackle many different styles. So right now we have 3 different sizes, a chair, a love seat, and a sofa, and they're all in the same style. But you can choose different colors. You can choose your cushion density to make it harder or firmer. And down the road we'll make different styles. But we wanted to make sure we got something out to market so people had an option.
Wow. So I'm looking at the Verona armchair here, and it looks like a bunch of different colors. So you're able to color these materials without using chemicals as well. Yeah,
certified organic dyes. Yep.
That is so cool. And what are you covering? I'm looking at the bottom of the armchair, and you said, I forget what you just said, but the wood that it acts as a leg. What are you covering that wood with? That's organic.
The wood is actually a no VOC. It's certified no VOC stain. If you're talking about the feet, right there, the customer gets a choice of different colors for the wood feet, and those are no VOC stains, so they're certified to not off-gas at all.
Oh my gosh, natural. I'm looking at here, natural. What is COIR? Coconut fiber with natural latex?
Yeah, so that's coir. Coir is coconut husk. So they take the brown husk on the outside of the coconut, they collect all this, and then they press it together with natural latex sap, and that holds it together. So it creates this like 1-inch thick kind of sponge of coconut fiber and acts as a very breathable and pliable natural material.
Aren't coconuts amazing? There's like thousands. It's kind of like hemp. There's thousands of uses for coconut. Man, it's just amazing. Yeah. What an amazing...
They're an incredible, yeah.
Golly.
So versatile.
So I'm so curious. Now, you guys seem to go so far above and beyond. I mean, you're doing this natural jute webbing and zero VOC natural linseed oil and zero VOC water-based finishes with linseed coating, no flame retardants. I'm just so curious. How did this whole thing get started? You said that Savvy Rest started in around 2005?
Yeah, so the founder, his name is Michael Penny. He has a very interesting background. He actually lived in an ashram for over 2 decades. A scandal broke up his ashram in the mid-'90s, and he was kind of out on his own with his family, 2 kids and a wife, to figure out what he wanted to do. And so at some point he settled on working for a mattress store as he was trying to figure out what he wanted to be for his next step. And as he worked there, he discovered all the, not just the problems of the production of mattresses and the toxic chemicals that go in them, but also the way they're sold in a way that's kind of like a used car salesman, so to speak. It's a lot of double talk, a lot of glossing over things, and just pushing product on people. So he learned a lot while he was working there, and then decided he was going to make a run for it on his own and develop a product that was free from all those chemicals, that could be presented transparently to the consumer and would sell itself on its own merit. And at the time, there was maybe a couple natural mattresses on the market, but none that were comfortable. They were all rock hard, and people would have to sacrifice comfort to go the organic route. And so he developed this layered system where you choose 3 layers of natural rubber inside your mattress in different densities, so it could be customized to fit your comfort needs and also provide you with a healthy night's sleep. So he started that then in 2004, he was working on the idea, and then I joined up in 2007. I actually was just looking for a job while I was in college. I was finishing up my undergraduate program and saw they needed some help out in the production. I think at the time they had 4 employees maybe.
Wow!
And so I joined on then and kind of learned the company from the ground up and just fell in love with it.
So was he kind of the first guy to do the idea of the layered system with the beds?
Yeah, I think there was some different types of layering out there, but to take it as far as we did, to do 3-inch layers and have the ability to split the latex down the middle, so each side of the mattress could feel different for couples, using as many different options as we did, that was innovative. And the cover that he designed to also be organic with a zipper to allow access to those layers was innovative at the time as well.
Wow, that's so crazy. It's so funny to say that, innovative at the time, and that was only like 10 years ago, but it's so much happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, so much happens. It doesn't seem like it's been that long. But
gosh, that's crazy. Wow, what an interesting story. So now when you guys first started, and this happened in 2005, I would imagine that the sort of psyche back then and the amount of people that understood all this just was not nearly as what it is now, right?
Yeah, it was a very, very, very much a smaller market, but you would have people who were very passionate. This was there was a smaller group of people who, to get the knowledge that they did at the time, they would have had to care deeply about chemicals in their life, and they would have had to done a lot of research. So the people we would hear from early on were big devotees of the brand and the lifestyle, and so we were able to make a good go of it in the beginning, and we had a lot of retailers who weren't traditional mattress retailers and maybe didn't even sell mattresses who came to us because they wanted to offer this important product to their customers. So we started getting a lot of people interested in becoming dealers of our product early on, and that helped to spread the word before the mainstream media picked it up, within the last 4 or 5 years and really made it big.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's going to be a bottom line hit to the major retailers out there that are just putting out mattresses full of chemicals. I wonder if so many people are going to be waking up, and I wonder if that's ever going to happen.
I hope so. I mean, obviously the food industry has had to recognize that. You see all these traditional manufacturers of food products who never offered a natural option before, and you'll now see them coming out with natural options of their products. So that's happened in the food industry. In the mattress industry, I think some of the traditional mattress companies are taking notice, but it's happening much slower. So I don't know. And then again, cigarette manufacturers are still doing very well, so right. I think we can only hope that people's perspectives change, but I think it will, and we'll just see.
Yeah, I think it's only really a matter of time because the mass consciousness just is slowly awakening, and I mean, you're seeing celebrities walking around with green juices. You're seeing Walmart selling organic food. I've never bought organic food from Walmart, but I don't think I ever would. But the fact that they're doing it and people are buying it, and then McDonald's is changing his menu and offering salads and things. So people are waking up, I think. Yeah, it's a slow thing, but I think the momentum's there, and I don't think it's something that'll peak and go away. I think it'll be continuous. Yeah, and so it makes sense that people would wake up with things like food because obviously they're putting it into their body, but obviously it would take a little bit more not coercion, but education and letting people know that even the things you breathe and the things you smell are putting a toxic load on your system, not just the things you eat.
Yeah, I think that's true, and it is difficult because the effects, the negative effects, are hard to see, and they take a long time to develop. So that's often difficult to convey to consumers. And you also don't want to, as much as we like to, we don't want to market based on fear. But that's also one of the more powerful ways to get people to realize what they're potentially doing to themselves by using these traditional products. And so, in some ways, you have to use fear as an educator because it's important.
Yeah, I can understand that because, fear sells, obviously. You watch the news and you watch any form of advertising. It's really challenging, isn't it, to educate people but not make them fearful, but also they need to know that, there are chemicals in food and there are chemicals in carpets and in our mattresses and so it's challenging. I would imagine it's really challenging because if you guys wanted to, you could use the fear angle, like crazy, but
we
don't.
Use it much heavier than we are. Yeah. So, and we could post all the press releases about class action lawsuits if we wanted to, but that's our main goal is to present information as truthfully and as transparently to the consumer, and if they read it and they hear about it, I think the obvious, it builds a healthy level of concern for them, and I think that's apparent to most people. It just depends on how big you want to go and how much of the national market you want to try and reach, because at some point you're going to have to push a little bit more of the fear side, I think, to get more of the masses to convert, so to speak. But right now we're trying to just offer information, and people can kind of make up their own mind. And I think most people realize that there's a concern out there.
Yeah, we did a show years ago with a really awesome woman named Deborah Lynn Dad. You might be familiar with her, and she does a lot of work with like chemicals in the home, and natural alternatives to Tupperware and toothpaste and makeup and all the stuff that's going on in the home. And she was saying that the home, I mean, people have said this too, not just her, but so many people are now saying that the air inside your home is much more toxic than the air outside. Even if you live in a very toxic place like Texas, I think has some of the worst air quality in the nation because all their coal fire plants and things like that. But even the air inside of any home is going to be much more toxic than the air outside, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's true. We try to do a little video on our site illustrating that. We called it toxic dust. And if you go to our website and search that, you'll find the video, or go to our videos page. And it just shows how a lot of these toxic chemicals that are in the products in our home cling to the dust in the air. So when you're breathing all these dust particles in, you're also getting these little chemicals that have latched on to them. And so that's part of what that person was describing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then also, too, just in terms of the outside air, have you heard all this stuff going around recently about tire dust?
I haven't heard about it recently. I'm vaguely aware of the concept, but no, has it been in the news? Yeah,
it's been in the news, and tire dust apparently is a major problem, especially people living next to airports, and because of the planes landing and the fumes coming up from the rubber hitting the tarmac, but then also freeways, and you get all of this.
There's playgrounds too. They used to use chopped tire bits in the playgrounds, and that was determined to be highly toxic.
Yeah,
which is unfortunate.
Golly, it's crazy. You got to really do so much these days, don't you, to stay away from toxicities?
Yeah, and there's only so much you can do. At the end of the day, you can drive yourself crazy, and you ultimately live in a bubble, and even that may not help. But you can make big changes to your life that are relatively simple, and I think that should be the focus.
Yeah, because there's no way, like you said, there's no way to get away from all of these things unless you go live in the middle of a forest, but then still you're probably getting some who knows what in the air. They found toxic flame retardants in Antarctica and the Arctic. So these things seep into the environment no matter where you are in the world. Oh my
And these are the same chemical flame retardants they use in mattresses.
Wow. So what did they find that in the air in Antarctica?
I think they found it in some of the animals that live there, and then some tests. I can't remember if it was soil deposits or streams. Might have been streams. Some natural material. They found these toxic chemicals in them.
Well, one of the things that I look at in terms of my own life, reducing exposures to chemicals, because there's no way you can. We walk our dog and a car goes by that just reeks from its muffler, and there's nothing you could do about that kind of stuff. But where I try to focus on are the places that I spend the most amount of time in, and how close I get to those toxic chemicals. So,
I think that's rational.
Yeah. So if my body is actually close to certain chemicals, then I want to really look at that. Or if I'm doing something every single day for many, many hours in a day, like right now I'm doing this interview, standing at a desk, because I got a stand-up desk. And so, I spend 8-10 hours a day working. And so anything I'm doing every single day that requires many hours of my life and time, I'm looking at shoring up those areas first. And so sleeping, my goodness, a third of your life. And not just that, but your head is so close to the chemicals, really.
Yeah, it is. I think that's a really good way to look at it. And you're also at your most vulnerable at night, too. Your body is recharging. It's in a little bit of hibernation state, so it needs that time to regenerate cells and to get the rest it needs. So I think it's totally logical, if you're going to make some changes to your life at all, do the ones that are the closest to you or that you spend the most time on. So food would be a big one. Sleeping, that's a huge one. And then, like you do at your desk, stand up. I have a stand-up desk too. I think it's great. Why not get a little bit more healthy while you're, spending 8 hours a day at work? And then, other things like cosmetics or things that people put on their skin every day, too. I'd look there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's an interesting article going around. I forget where I read it. It's like what these days on Facebook and social media, you see things like your exposure to information is just nuts. But it was talking about how lung cancer is on the rise, and especially in people that are non-smokers. And it was talking about, and not just non-smokers, but people that were non-smokers that, don't live or are not exposed to smoke. So, you may have a wife that smokes, but you might not smoke. And so, but this study wasn't talking about them. It was like, this study was talking about how lung cancer is on the rise and people that aren't even exposed really at all to smokers. So, yeah. And the article was asking why is this? And it didn't really have much to say. It didn't talk about chemicals in the home or anything like that. But I suspect that it's got to be this toxic load that we're breathing all the time.
It's certainly possible. And, that's one of the things, there was a highlight of Toxic Hot Seat, which was that HBO documentary that I recommended in the beginning. Mm-hmm. One of the intro of that documentary talks about a select group of firefighters. I believe it was in Northern California, and this was right around the time when they enacted the law that required all these flame retardants go into furniture and mattresses, and they were able to correlate a rare form, I believe it was, of kidney cancer, and I can't remember the percentage, but it was some insanely high percentage of these firefighters in this area where they had more of these new flame retardants, and they were running into these houses, breathing in these fumes, and the specific cancer has been linked to a specific flame retardant. And, I think viewers will have to watch that documentary to get more details than I remember, but it was fascinating to me.
Wow.
It showed a direct correlation.
So that's Toxic Hot Seat?
Yes. Yeah, HBO documentary.
I'm going to look that up. I just signed up for Netflix, so I might look that up on Netflix. I wonder if it's on there.
They may have it. I don't know for sure, but it's definitely worth, even if you have to pay for it somewhere, I would give it a watch. It's really important. Wow,
so they were correlating the specific chemicals to, what did you say, kidney cancer?
It was some rare form of kidney cancer, I believe, and that form of cancer, I think, in lab tests was shown to be directly caused by the specific chemical. Wow. It was an undeniable tie.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that is just crazy. I would imagine, this would be more of a lung thing with people, but I guess if each person has their own sort of weak chain in their DNA and their mitochondrial makeup, and each person has their own weak link. So, wow, that's crazy. That is just crazy. I'm going to look that up. Toxic Hot Seat. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I'd give it a watch, and I'd also recommend the Chicago Tribune multiple series expose on flame retardants in the furniture and mattress industry. It's really enlightening.
Yeah, it's really challenging because the average person just doesn't know most of this. And when you go in to buy a regular standard mattress, not only do the people not think to ask these questions because it's just really not in our consciousness to think about these things, right. But if they did, the people would, like you said, probably just sort of blow over it, wouldn't they?
They might. I would say probably the average citizen in this country would blow over it. But, I think, for anybody who's going to put a little bit of thought into it or who has, it depends too, because you have to have a certain level of income, even if you finance a product like this, to be able to go this direction. It's kind of the unfortunate state of sourcing all certified organic materials. You have to have a certain customer, and that's just going to be how it is. But if you look at products like ours compared to, one of the big memory foam manufacturers, you're in the same kind of price range. So I think even someone who wasn't necessarily initially interested in an organic product, if you're looking in the same kind of price range as one of these really popular products, why not err on the side of caution and get something that doesn't have all these known carcinogens in it?
Now, do you know what is the average lifespan of a bed? Are your beds pretty much on par with, if a bed on average lasts someone for 5 or 10 years, are your beds right there as well?
We actually, expect ours to last much longer than that. I think industry usually says 6 to 8 years, 5 to 7 years, something like that for a mattress. We warranty ours for 20 years, and part of that's because of the durability of natural rubber, and I'm not talking about rubber like in tires where it's a synthetically blended rubber, but I'm talking about just rubber sap that comes out of a rubber tree and is baked into a foam, and that's what we use for the core of our mattresses, and this has been proven to be durable. So we warranty it for 20 years, but even before I got started in this business, I knew people who had latex mattresses, rubber mattresses from the 40s and 50s, and they still sleep on them. And I wouldn't recommend that, but they still hold up. And you hear about these stories all the time from people who've had latex mattresses for, many decades.
Wow.
So certainly more durable.
So
if you look at the dollar per day cost, then you can make a justification there.
Yeah, and you think about all the different aspects of your life that sleep affects, not getting a good sleep it just impacts your memory, your vitality, your energy levels, your ability to deal with stress, and your ability to fight and ward off disease, and it goes on, and hormones. I mean, it's so important. If there's one area of your life to invest in, I would imagine a nice, comfortable bed that also is not toxic would be pretty high on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I'm certainly biased, but I feel the same way, and that's part of the reason too why we went beyond organic materials and allow customers to customize the layers in their mattress, even on different sides of the bed, because someone comes into the store, they're 6'5", 250 pounds. And maybe their partner is 5'6" and 110 pounds, and that mattress in the traditional retail store is going to be one size fits all. And obviously, one mattress can't be right for someone that's that big and someone that's that small. People have different needs. So we've developed the product so that every person can customize their layers so they'll get the comfortable night they sleep. Because in addition to getting away from chemicals, like you mentioned, all the restorative qualities of sleep are necessary as well. So you need the comfort that's right for you.
Mm-hmm. Now, we are connected up with you guys through your affiliate program, just to let everybody know, which is why I'm so excited to be doing this show with you. But I'm curious, when people buy online, how do they test the things out, and how does all of that work? Can people buy online? Obviously they can, right?
Yeah, people can buy online from us. We have, a dealer network around the country, but, we do educate many people on the website so that they can make a choice for them based on our years of experience, recommending layer configurations for different body types, different preferences, if you have any health issues that might impact what configuration you need. And we also offer the ability to make changes to your product. Since the outside casing of the mattress has a zipper, you can open it up, and you can even move your layers around if you need to adjust the comfort. So it's not like if you get the product and it's not exactly the way you wanted it to, you're stuck. You can move layers around, change it up, and we even offer a 90-day latex exchange for the first 90 days that you own the product. If you want to change things up a little bit, you just give us a call, and we'll send you a new layer that might be more in line with what you need once you've tried it for, a month or two.
Oh, that is cool. So people can do that. I like that. That's really, yeah. That allows for a lot of different options. People can play around, and then if none of those options work for them, they can just send it back, and then you just replace it
for a new layer. Yeah.
Wow, that is really cool. So if someone contacts you through us, do they just let you guys know that they found you guys through us? Is that how that works?
Well, I think they'll come to you. The ideal way is if they're on your site and they go to your information about SavvyRest on your site, they'll click a link that takes you to the SavvyRest, and they purchase there, then we'll know that they came from your site.
I see. Okay. That is really, really cool. Now, I was going to ask you some other questions. What should people look for when they're buying a mattress? What are the main things? I guess it depends. If they're buying a standard mattress from some place in their local area, that would vary based on a lot of different factors, but that would be even different than buying from you guys, because obviously with you guys there's no toxins, there's no chemicals. So yeah. Are people looking for the stiffness and the hardness of the materials and that kinds of things? Well,
I think it's different for every consumer. Some people are out there just shopping on price, and Others want to get away from chemicals, and I would obviously recommend that. If people are going that direction to get away from chemicals, I would say to always look for the relevant certifications out there. But otherwise, people are looking for something that will support them in the way they sleep. You know, we all have different sleep patterns. If someone's a back sleeper, their sleep needs, their mattress density is going to be different from a side sleeper or a stomach sleeper. And body mass definitely is a big impact on what you should be looking for on a product. If you have any health issues, if you have sciatica, things like that, you know, that's all going to impact how people are looking for a product. And in general, you know, if you're a side sleeper, you're going to need a little more surface pressure relief to take in the shoulders and the hips. Those are our pressure points, and they stick out a little bit more than the rest of us. So side sleeper is going to have a different need there than a back sleeper who probably needs something firmer, so they don't start to hammock in that mattress. And so you obviously need to be comfortable enough to fall asleep, but as you're asleep, you need to have enough support so that you don't get out of alignment, you don't have aches and pains the next day. So in general, you need a little surface pressure relief with kind of a deeper support, but that's not always going to be right for everybody.
Okay, that makes sense. So when they call you guys can walk them through how to do all this?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. We have, you know, years of experience helping people make configuration selections.
That's awesome. And is there a warranty on the product?
Yes, 20-year warranty.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Yeah, 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And so I also saw something on your website about financing. What is that about?
Yeah, so we partnered with Wells Fargo so that if people want to spread out their purchase over a period of time, they have the option to do that. And I believe in December we actually have a promotion coming up where they can do 36 months financing with no interest. So free to finance, 36 months. So it makes the product, you know, really affordable if someone wants to go this direction and just doesn't want to put out the entire amount right up front. So we've tried to make that available to customers so we can reach a broader audience. Oh,
that's awesome. Yeah, because, I mean, there's no getting around it. Your products are pretty expensive, but so are most high-quality beds, too. But, I mean, it all comes down to understanding and putting a value on your exposure to chemicals and how much you value sleep.
Right, yeah. I mean, they certainly are expensive for the average person. I would say, you know, a queen-size mattress for us, in the 3-layer model is going to start at $3,000, just over that. And so if you look at the major mattress players out there, it's kind of the same price range. Even the top-selling mattress out there, I believe, is Tempur-Pedic now. Their mattresses retail in the same price range, and I can tell you that their materials don't cost nearly as much as ours do, but we're still able to offer that value at the same price range. You get organic and customization.
Yeah.
And you can certainly go well beyond our mattresses. There's mattresses out there that retail over $60,000, which is unbelievable.
Gosh.
But you could buy, you know, 20, 25 of our mattresses for that.
Wow. So tell me about the trees planted and the pillows donated I see at the top of your website. What are you guys doing there?
Yeah, so with every mattress or every product purchase, I believe, we offer customers the option to plant 5 trees. So when the product arrives, there'll be a little packet of information, and in that will be information about our partnership with American Forests. And you basically just go to the URL that's on that card and say, I'd like to plant 5 trees. It's no cost to you, and we'll make that donation and plant those trees. So we have a running ticker on our website of all of the folks who bought from us who've elected to do that free option. So that's something we're proud of. And then the pillows donated, we actually partner with several local women's shelters around the country. They're local to our retail stores. And through that, we provide pillows to women who've come into these homes, these shelters. Basically, they've come from abusive situations or otherwise where they need support, and they all get a pillow when they come there that they can take with them when they leave. So we're happy to support those initiatives as well.
That's really cool. It looks like 8,990 trees. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else that I need to cover, because I just love what you guys are doing. I mean, it took me, like I said at the beginning of the show, years to find someone I could really stand behind, because, you know, we would get offers from different people and we'd say, hey, look at this website, or people listening to the show would send website of a place, and I'd look at it and it's just, I didn't see the integrity. I didn't see all of the stuff that you guys are doing and how meticulous and detailed you guys are with everything. And so, yeah, it took us 4 years to find someone that we could really stand behind, but I'm really excited and honored to be able to tell people that there's options now. And, I mean, there's been options for quite a few years now, but, you know, I'm just excited to be, you know, promoting your products here.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Justin, and I hope we convey that to customers, not just through, you know, the products we offer, but also the way we operate our business. As you mentioned really early on, we're a B corporation, you know, where you have to, in order to qualify for that, you have to get measured for points, as they term it. Basically, you get points for how you treat the environment, how you treat your employees, the type of products you produce, and you have to, you know, meet certain standards, and if you meet those standards, you get qualified as a B corporation. But in order to maintain that status, you have to officially register and incorporate as a benefit corporation after 2 years. And we've done that. So that means that legally we don't have to answer to shareholders. They have the same voice as the environment, our community, and our employees. So it's an interesting legal way we've registered the company, which I think means a lot to consumers. And we're also an employee-owned corporation, so everybody from sales to marketing to warehouse production owns the company. So we feel that leads to better products, better service overall, and so we don't have an outside board or outside shareholders that we have to answer to.
You know, that's so cool to hear, because it's like you guys are holding yourselves to such higher standards, and it almost, from a capitalistic point of view and from a purely economical point of view, you guys are almost setting yourself up for failure in a sense, because you're holding yourselves to such incredibly high standards. It's making it more difficult for you to make a profit. Like you're saying before, the Tempur-Pedic is probably around the same price, but I have no idea if they're selling a mattress for $3,000. I have no idea what it's costing them to produce that, but for you guys, it's costing a lot more to produce it. Plus, you're setting yourselves up as a B corporation, and you're holding yourselves up to such high standards, which I think is really cool. It's really honorable, and it's really awesome to stand behind a company that does all those things, because it shows that you guys are not, I mean, obviously every company needs to, you know, have a profit and to make money, but it shows where your integrity is, I think.
Yeah, we always try and put people before profit, and that's one of our mantras here. And like you said, we have to be profitable to continue to operate, but we think we can do that in a different way and in a responsible way. So that's what we're trying to do.
Love it, love it, love it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate your time and just sharing all this cool stuff with people.
Well, thanks so much, Justin. I appreciate it. It was good to be here, and thanks again for your partnership.
Yeah, awesome. Hang on the line there, John. We're going to close out the live show. I just want to thank everybody for being on the show today. This was an awesome information about sleep and about the types of products that we surround ourselves with in our home. And as you guys know, the carpets, the paints, the beds, the clothing, everything that we expose ourselves to on a daily basis is something that we should work on. Obviously, for some people, it may be too expensive, but, you know, start small. Start with your clothing, start with your food, and, you know, gradually work your way up. And maybe one day you can start, you know, doing bigger ticket items in your home, like beds and sofas and things like that. So thank you guys for listening. We really appreciate it. If you guys are interested in checking out Savvy Rest, you can find them in our store, or if you go to extremehealthradio.com/481, that is the actual show number for today's show. So if you want to go to our site and go to extremehealthradio.com/481, you'll find this particular show page, and you can visit our sponsors and check out Savvy Rest from there. Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. We love you guys. Let us know if we could ever help. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. So there you go. Episode 481, Savvy Rest. What do you guys think about that? That was an interesting show. And I think it's really, really important for us to be able to, to really, really shore up our home. And even if you don't or can't buy any of the organic mattresses put out by Savvy Rest, I highly recommend doing what you can to bring more plants into your home, to bring some air purifiers into your home, maybe bring some salt lamps into your home and look at getting rid of your carpet and painting your walls with organic paint. I think all of these things are really, really important. And I really like the work that they're doing over there at Savvy Rest. I'm proud to be honored and proud to be offering their products. I really, really stand behind the work that they do. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. A lot of times it's challenging, to go through and to take stock of everything in your life that is toxic. You go through. That's why we offer chemical-free cookware in our store. That's why we offer glass cookware in our store. And there's plastics everywhere, and there's carpets everywhere, and there's clothing made from cotton that's been sprayed with pesticides. And it's a challenge. It really is a challenge. But that's why we have these ways of detoxing. That's why it's so important to do your coffee enemas and do your saunas and do your rebounders and do the things, the yoga in your life, and ground yourself and do these things in your life that can help to help move these toxins and chemicals out. And so, I hope you guys enjoyed that show about the organic bedding, and I hope you guys grab some and go learn more about Savvy Rest. If you do end up purchasing some and you want to call someone, make sure to let them know that we sent you. And let them know that in case they offer any discounts or deals. I'm not sure if they would or not, but in case they do, just let them know that we sent you, Justin from Extreme Health Radio, and maybe they'll offer you something or a discount. Or I'm not sure if they would or not, but So I hope you guys really enjoyed that. I think that was really informative, and it's just one more reminder for us to get rid of toxins in our life if at all possible. And I know it's challenging, like we talked about during the show, but this is an ongoing process. Unfortunately, life is very toxic, and the modern conveniences of what's deemed to be normal is very abnormal. It's very abnormal to be living such toxic lives, and that's why there's such a burden on our immune system. It's a toxic load, and there's only so much of it you can take until your immune system just collapses. So the more and more you can take pressure off of your immune system as you age and get older and move forward in life, the better. So essentially, it's almost like I would say, walking around with a weight vest on. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with weight vests, but I just got one recently, and I've been using it to work out in. And it's got all of these little slots for essentially like little sandbags, and they're probably about 10 pounds each or something. And there's about 6 or 8 of them that go around your chest and back. But as you continue in life, removing the toxic burdens from your life, it's like essentially removing one of those weights that's around your weight vest. So it's like removing those, little by little. And so eventually you feel lighter, you feel cleaner. And so by getting rid of these things is an amazing thing, because you're removing all of this weight, this toxic load over time. And, obviously it's a process, right? Because we can't all go paint our house with organic paint. That would cost a lot of money. We can't all go buy organic bedding. We can't all go rip up the carpets in our rooms and, put wood floors in our house and, hook up, whole house water filters or get the Berkey that we sell in our store. All these things, obviously cost money, and you got to kind of chip away and pick away at these things over time. But, that's part of what we're all about. We can only do a little bit at a time, and that's okay. All of our budgets are different. And so, if you can afford an organic bed, or if you're in the market for an organic bed and you have the money for that, then that's an awesome thing. And if you are in the market and you have, extra funds to be able to buy, whole house water filter or the Berkey that we recommend in our store, or, to take the beta glucans that we have in our store to improve your immune system. You kind of just chip away at these things over time. So, ultimately, it's all about your intention and about your desire and how you live your life the majority of the time. So hope you guys enjoyed that show. I thought it was an awesome show, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about any of these things that we talked about today, make sure to let us know. If you're on YouTube listening to this, make sure to give us a thumbs up and comment below. And don't forget to share this episode. And we thank you for your support, especially during Black Friday and holiday season, or anytime really, bookmarking our Amazon link. For those of you that support us on Patreon and send us $1 or $2 every month, to keep our shows free. We thank you guys for that. You guys are amazing. And thanks for checking out our store as well. That's awesome. We've got so many great products in our store that we just love and are so proud to be working with the companies and to offer these unique sort of health tools and gadgets and appliances and things like that for you there. So thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing our show. You guys are awesome. Really appreciate it. Let us know if we can ever help, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any information in this blog or to start any health program without first